Hello Williams class. For your PSHE lesson today, the learning objective is, can I think about and share what worries me? We are going to read another story from Catherine Rundell's The Book of Hopes. Sit back, put some relaxing music on, close your eyes if you would like to, and listen. This story is called The Monk and the Armadillo. Situated somewhere between the cold, snowy peaks of Nepal and the tall, swaying mango trees of India, stands the highest mountain your imagination can possibly imagine. And right on the very top of this mountain's tip lies a single straw hut, inside which lived a monk, a very holy man who believed it was his calling to sit on top of this mountain in complete isolation until he understood the depth and breadth of the universe and everything in between. Now sitting in a straw hut all day and all night, with nothing but the sun and the moon and the wind to keep you company, can get awfully boring, especially if you've been doing it for 50 years, as this very wise monk had. And so deep down in his heart, the monk began to grow restless and started to hope for a sign that would tell him his knowledge was complete, that he had learned everything he could possibly learn, and that he should return back down the mountain to the beautiful village he had once grown up in, the friends he had left behind, and the food he couldn't help dreaming about. Having survived on nothing but grains and seeds collected from between the rocks of the mountain for 50 years, the monk secretly hoped his sign would come soon. For oh, how he longed to taste a bowl of hot, delicious noodles floating with a million spring onion hoops, just like his mother used to make. And even though he could have left the mountain at any time, the monk knew in his heart that he had to wait for a sign if he was to leave it in peace. A year went by, and another, and another, and still the monk continued to secretly hope, until one day, all the way from the golden hot sands of Arabia, his sign began to make its way to him, for a mighty storm was hurtling across the desert plains and, like the insides of a giant washing machine, had snatched a poor armadillo up in its arms. The armadillo, frightened and alone, curled itself up into a tiny ball of iron armor, and, squeezing its eyes tight, hoped with all its heart that it would land safe and sound and not too far from home. The storm was fierce and wild and hungry and, unknown to the armadillo, loved to travel. So imagine its surprise when, on feeling itself be dropped, the armadillo found itself not in a desert at all, but outside the door of a straw hut, situated on the snow-capped peak of a mountain that stood so high above the clouds it could almost touch the stars. And imagine his surprise when just a few hours later, the monk opened his door to find a poor armadillo shaking at his feet. "It is here!" cried the monk, lifting the armadillo up in his hands with a joyous smile. "My sign is here, and it is in need of help." And thanking the skies that had brought this little life to his door, the monk ran down the mountain at once to find help for his new friend. I am pleased to say that the monk and the armadillo went on to become great friends, for each had fulfilled the hopes of the other. The monk by forever after keeping the armadillo warm and fed and happy, and the armadillo by inspiring the monk to become a vet and eat just as many bowls of hot, delicious noodles as he liked. And that's that. So, we are going to be talking about worrying in this lesson today. Are you worried about a lot of things right now? Here are a few things that may be worrying you: health, school, friends, family, and so much more. Now, I'll give you an example of something that worries me. I am worried that it will be a long time before I get to see some of my family again, because I have some family that doesn't live in my area. They live a little bit further away. Some of them live in Manchester, some of them live in Denmark. So that's a little bit of a worry of mine because of COVID being so dangerous and so risky. We're not able to travel. And so That would be a worry of mine. Now, I'm going to be introducing you to something known as the worry jar. Now, a worry jar is a place for you to put your worries so you don't have to think about them all the time. Find a jar or any container and decorate it if you like. And if you haven't got a spare jar lying around in the house or in school, you can write or draw on the picture on the following slide, which I will show you in the following slide. So you can write down one worry on one piece of paper, fold it up and put it in the jar. And then you close the jar. Then choose 10 to 15 minutes a day, but not right before bed, for worry time. You can open the worry jar, you can look inside, and you can worry as much as you want in that given time. You can read all the worries, or you can choose to focus on one or maybe two of them. Set a timer so that you know when that worry time is over, so you're not spending too much time thinking about it. And close the jar to put your worries away. Now, at some point, you will realize that you've stopped worrying about something that you've put in the jar, and you can then tear that worry up and throw it away. And enjoy the fact that you've stopped worrying about something with your friends and family. Enjoy this accomplishment, really celebrate it, that you don't, there's one less worry that you are worried about. Now, here is what you could use if you don't want to make a jar. You can take this template, so it's an outline of a jar. On the top it says my worry jar, and then it says don't fill your head with worries, fill the jar instead. Now, the point of doing this, the purpose of making a worry jar, is so all of your worries, or most of your worries hopefully, are out of your mind and into somewhere where you're not constantly thinking about it, or you're not constantly worried about it. Because if you're constantly worried, it's not a very nice feeling to feel. And so this way you'll be able to forget about them for a little while, and you'll even be able to look at some of them very closely and then find out ways of resolving it, of making yourself feel better about it. So your 3 challenges are as follows. Challenge number 1 is to make a list of what worries you. So get a piece of paper and just write down some things that might be worrying you at the moment. Now, I am aware that this is a bit of a sensitive topic. It's a topic that might make you a little bit sad, but that is not the point of this exercise. The point of this is to have everything out of your mind and onto a piece of paper. So it's less inside and more outside, because the more feelings you share, the better. Once you have done task number 1, task number 2 is to create a worry jar. So remember that it does not have to be a jar specifically. It can be any container. It could even be a space in your home where you place your worries. So you could pick maybe a box that you have in the corner of your room somewhere, where you just write your worries on a piece of paper, fold them up, and then put them in that box. You can maybe even pick a corner or a special room or a special spot in your home where you can sit down for 10 to 15 minutes and just talk to yourself in your mind, or just whisper it to yourself. I have a technique where I pretend like I have a little nest. So if I have something to say but I don't want anyone to hear it, I whisper into my nest like this, and that way no one can hear it except for your nest. So you could even do that. You could sit somewhere and just close your eyes and talk amongst yourselves about your concerns. Then task number 3 is to share what worries you are no longer worried about. So you can record yourself on Tapestry, just sharing with the rest of us some worries that you have overcome, that you have gotten over, that you have found solutions to. Because during a time like COVID, where a lot of people might be a little bit sad sometimes, I think the more good news that we receive, the better. And the fact that you are able to be at peace with something that used to stress you out before, that is good news that we would all really, really appreciate to know more about, if it is okay with you to record and put onto Tapestry. Those are your 3 challenges for your PSHE lesson. If you find that you're getting a little bit down about it, please do talk to somebody, talk to an adult, talk to a teacher, because that is the last thing we want you to feel. Just to remind you, this is a way of really thinking about what worries you, and you'll find that the more you put on paper, the better you feel. And the more you share your worries with trusted people, people that you trust, your friends and adults in your family and your teachers, you'll find that you just feel like there are solutions to these worries. Have a go, see how you get on. And if you have any questions or concerns, then just write to us. Email, Tapestry, or during the lives, you can even share your questions there. So enjoy, and I'll see you very soon, Williams class.